Okay, today we're going to talk about some things that can go wrong with experiments, even if you follow the three principles. And the first is called the placebo effect. The placebo effect stems from the fact that people respond to dummy treatments, treatments that don't do anything at all. And we always need to, if we're trying to find out if a treatment works, compare it to a placebo because of this placebo effect. And it's probably because as human beings, we feel that perhaps doing something is better than doing nothing. So even like taking a pill can make you feel better, even if the pill doesn't have any medicine in it, even if it's just sugar. So you always want to make sure that when you do an experiment, you let people have the same experience. So if one group needs to take an aspirin every day, the other group needs to take a placebo every day. Because if we tend to trust medicine and trust our doctors, so the act of going to the doctor or the act of just taking a pill can make us feel better, even if it is just a dummy treatment. For example, you have all experienced the placebo effect before. Kissing has no healing powers whatsoever on cuts and bruises. However, I'm sure that when you were all little, you all asked your mom to kiss your boo-boo. And it probably made you feel better. Not because of any actual healing, but because the act itself made you feel comforted and made you feel better. Okay, something else that we need to be aware of with experiments is called blinds. Okay, we prefer for studies to be double-blinded, which means neither the person measuring the results or the subjects know which group they are in, so they don't know which treatment they received. Okay, a single-blinded is when just one knows and one doesn't. So the person receiving the treatment may know which treatment they received, and the person measuring may not. And sometimes it's unavoidable. For example, if you're comparing diets, it's rather hard to be on a restricted calorie diet and not know that you're on a restricted calorie diet. So sometimes we have to use single-blindedness, but we always prefer double-blind. And the reason that we prefer a double-blinded study is because then people don't expect less. If I don't know which treatment I'm receiving, then I don't know what to expect. Whereas if I know that I'm receiving the placebo, I'm probably going to think, this is just a placebo, it's probably not going to help me. And if I expect less, I'm probably going to get less. Because as everyone's usually telling you, you get out of something what you expect to. So the advantages are that people don't expect less out of their treatment. These two things can cause confounding. So if people know which treatment they're receiving, you have confounding with their expectations and the treatment. You don't know which is causing which, their expectations or the treatment. And with the placebo, it's kind of the same thing. If you give one a pill and one not a pill, then you don't know what's causing the difference between the two. Was it the actual pill, or was it just the realization and the expectations of the pill they were taking? So let's look at an example. Take a second, hit pause, read this, and then we'll talk about it. So in this study, they actually studied the cost of medicine, and they gave them both placebos. However, so they were the exact same thing. However, more people thought that the more expensive one helped. That kind of gives us an idea of, it tells us that we are accustomed to paying more for better medications, and that we probably then think that the generic version probably doesn't work as well as the name brand version because it's cheaper, which would be an interesting study for someone else to do. However, it just tells us that it's all about the expectations. Because one was more expensive, people expected it to work better than the one that wasn't. even though they were the same medicine. Okay, so now take a second, do these check your understanding questions, and see if you can answer these questions about placebos and blinding. Okay, the answer to number 1 is no. That's because women without an ultrasound may experience pregnancy differently than women who have an ultrasound. Having an ultrasound and seeing your child may make you think, oh, I need to eat healthier, or it may make you come to some realizations about how you act during your pregnancy that people without an ultrasound may not experience. So no. The second one is also no. It is not a double blind because the mom knew whether or not she was having an ultrasound. The third one, the way that we can fix it is, one would be to let both moms experience the process of an ultrasound while keeping the machine turned on for some and turned off for the rest. So they all think they're getting ultrasounds and they don't know whether or not they really are. But that also means you would have to put the machine somewhere where the moms can't see it. So let everyone experience an ultrasound while only half actually receive the ultrasound. And no one gets to view the ultrasound pictures or anything like that. Okay, our final question for today is to talk about the results of experiments. And what does it mean if the results of an experiment are statistically significant? You will hear this phrase, statistically significant, quite often through statistics. Things are statistically significant if the results tell us that it could not have happened by chance. Okay? Differences between the treatments can happen by random chance just because of random assignment. I may have randomly, by total chance, put all of the people who are very sensitive to caffeine in one group. So their results may seem like caffeine has a much larger effect than it really does. So that may make me think that I have good results, even though it was by random chance. So statistically significant results is a difference between the two treatments that is large enough that it could not have happened by chance. And we will talk about what exactly large enough is and what we're actually looking for later on in the year. Typically, though, remember with our hiring discrimination, we were looking for a chance. We were looking for it to happen less than 5% of the time, and that's really what we're looking for. It varies, but it's typically, if it happens less than 5% of the time, then that's large enough that it could not have happened by chance.